Let us take this other question. Using any three prescribed texts, show how determination leads to success. Determination and success. Candidates should understand that it is a combination of the two. In The Old Man and the Sea, Santiago goes to sea every day despite returning home empty-handed. He has gone to sea for 84 days without a catch, and the others have declared him a Salau, pushing Manolin's father to withdraw their son from fishing with the old man because nothing good can come from him. He goes to sea every day, determined to prove himself that he is a skillful fisherman. And on the 85th day, pushed by superstitious belief, he ventures deep into the Gulf Stream where he catches the marlin and kills it. Secondly, while at sea, a big fish takes his bait and drags him into the sea. He would have cut off the line, especially as he is fishing in a small boat and it is risky to venture deep into the sea, yet he is determined to stay with the fish until he kills it. He spends days without having proper diet and proper rest, leaving him exhausted. Nevertheless, the fight with the marlin is an epic one, and he proves how better he is by killing such a big fish all by himself. Thirdly, the death of the marlin and the spilling of its blood on the water is an invitational signal for the sharks, and Santiago knows it. Because of the size of the skiff, he lashes the fish beside the boat, exposing its meat in the water. He is determined to bring the fish whole to shore, despite his exhaustion. When the sharks begin to attack the marlin, he fights ferociously as they eat up chunks of the meat. In the process, he kills some of the sharks, but also loses some of his equipment. He comes back home with the skeleton of the marlin, not because of his inability to defend the fish, but because he loses all the instruments which he would have used to defend the fish, and he is alone. The skeleton of the marlin wins the admiration of the other fishermen who treat him again with a lot of respect, highlighting highlighting success in failure. Manolin decides to come back and fish with the old man because he believes he has many things to learn from him. While in Casablanca, as a young man, he had challenged the strongest man on the docks, a Negro from Cienfuegos, in a hand game. No one had given him the chance to win because of the Negro's strength, but he is determined to take on his opponent. The fight lasts for hours with a change of referees, and against all odds, he beats and wins the Negro in the hand game, earning him the title El Campeón. This experience continues to serve as a source of motivation for him. And even when he goes to sea, this is one of the things that keeps his dream alive, hoping that he will kill the marlin, bring it to shore, and win back his place among successful fishermen. In unanswered cries, Olabisi visits the village and her mother decides that she should be circumcised when she finds out that she's no longer a virgin after the fight with Yapose's daughters. She's determined not to be subjected to such painful experience and outdated tradition, and she runs away from Dauda's chase into the forest. Despite being in the forest and an attempt to escape, it brings her closer to the Bondo camp, and she is caught by Yapose and her daughters, who take her into the camp. Out of sheer determination, she fights off the women, knocking one after the other, and breaks free from the camp and flees down the road to safety. Secondly, Olabisi runs down the hill and attempts to cross the crocodile-infested river. And she turns back and bumps into Pa Amado, who is looking for her, but she is not ready to be taken back to her mother by the hunter. She's determined to go back to Freetown, and she gives the hunter some money, and he helps her to find a safe route to return to freedom in Freetown to meet her father. While in her father's apartment, after she returns from the village, she narrates her ordeal in the village in the hands of her mother and the attempted fact that she had almost been circumcised. Makalai arrives to take her back to the village as promised, to hand her over to Yapose so that she should be circumcised. But Ade Jones intervenes, and he is determined not to allow his daughter to be subjected to such cruel, barbaric, and outdated ritual. He takes the matter to court, and with the help of Oya, who defends her, and Dr. Koroma, who gives an emotional testimony of the hazards of such a practice through the testimony of her daughter, who is dying of HIV and AIDS, which she had contracted during circumcision. Olabisi wins the case in court and spares her of the pain, as well as many other girls, to have a say or the freedom to choose whether they should be circumcised or not. In twilight of misty foliage, Amy is sent to prison unjustly, despite him being the victim of Inspector Evie's infidelity, and who defiles his matrimonial bed by sleeping with his wife. The young Mpochuang is determined to change the injustices that his people suffer from in the justice system and the subjugation which they have been suffering in the hands of Sajem elites. They are being discriminated, marginalized by Sajem elites who, with the complicity of the administration, have decided to take away the administrative seat from Sambis and taking it to Sajem. He is appointed cardinal at a very young age, and he embarks on developmental projects in the area which brings happiness to his people. The people of Sambes are determined to stop the subjugation of Sajem and their marginalization. They are refused position in the church, as most lucrative positions are taken up by Sajem children, while the menial jobs are reserved for children from Sambes. They are sent doctrinal notes without any explanation. Sajem children take all the lucrative positions. They strip them of the administrative seat which is taken to Sajem. Sambesans decide to concert, and one of the major decisions is to boycott the doctrinal examination. They rebel against Reverend Rothberger by refusing to go to church and to listen to his sermons. The senior divisional officer invites both camps to meet during a consultation in Bakken, and Sambe's delegation remains inflexible, especially when non-Sambesans are added in their delegation in order to sway the discussions in favor of Sajem. Led by Bimai, they refuse and threaten to walk out. Despite attempts by Mponwe to bribe him, he refuses. Their inflexibility makes them to be given some concessions as they go back home chanting songs of victory. Next, Bima starts off as a drunk who spends most of his time in verse-giving monologues. Cardinal Mpochweng is determined to change him and turns his life around through his sound messages of hope. Bimai becomes an important negotiator for Sambes. He stands his ground to expel non-Sambesan from Sambe's delegation. He refuses to be bribed by Mponwe, pushing Sambe's delegation to make concessions to Sambes. This is a big blow to Reverend Rothberger and his diabolical scheme. Thank you for watching.